Welcome to our winter solstice service, coming to you from One Earth Retreat Center in Fairfield County, South Carolina. I'm the Reverend Meredith Garman in the Zendo, while Reverend Laura Kim Joyner is just outside. We will begin in the Unitarian Universalist tradition by lighting a chalice. On this day, when the light of day is at its shortest, we light our chalice with the words of Albert Schweitzer about our individual lights. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within. The actual solstice is coming up in about 45 seconds. And we'll just have a little bit of silence as we await this moment. The instant of solstice is right now.
The bell of Notre Dame and the cardinal. No, not that one. That's the one. They call us together in covenant to bring us to deeper awareness of the beauty and infinite value of every being. Today, let us especially remember our covenant to affirm and promote our first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person and every being.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Solstice service. I'm the Reverend Dr. Laura Kim Joyner, and we're going to have a little bird note. What's going on with the birds on this solstice day? Birds can see what we cannot see. They have two phobias where humans just have one. This is an area of concentrated rods and cones that allow birds to see incredibly well. Having two of these allows them to focus quicker when they're tracking prey or insects. They can also focus far distance and close up, and each eye is like a telescopic lens and also a wide angle lens. Bald eagles can see up to a mile away. If we're really lucky, we might see one here today at One Earth Retreat Center here in South Carolina. Birds can also see ultraviolet light where we cannot. And owls really can't. Nighttime birds don't see it so well, but all other birds can see as well in the ultraviolet light, or even better than they can see in normal light. And some birds have in their feathers reflect ultraviolet light, so they see what we cannot see. To them, we are in the dark. They point us to the way of wonder, even when we cannot see the light, but they can.
Winter solstice. As an astronomical phenomenon, it is a point on a continuum, and we passed that point just a few minutes ago at 10:03 and 1 second Eastern Standard Time. That's the instant when the sun kissed the Tropic of Capricorn, when the center of the sun was directly over latitude 23.5 degrees south. So today in the Northern Hemisphere, it's the shortest period of daylight of the year. How short depends on your latitude. In Fairbanks, Alaska, the sun hasn't come up yet. And when it does, it will be up for only 3 hours, 53 minutes. Seattle's day today will be 8 hours, 29 minutes. Here in Winsboro, South Carolina, where Laura Kim and I are, our day today will be 9 hours, 54 minutes. Miami, Florida will have 10 hours and 34 minutes between sunrise and sundown. Wherever you are, however short the day is for you today, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, then every other day of the year will be longer than this one. Since the instant of solstice was passed in the morning in all US time zones, then the longest night of the year for us was last night. Tonight will be a second or two shorter than last night. Already the nights are starting to shorten and the days to lengthen. Only a little bit at first, but gradually faster. That's the scientific, astronomical, meteorological perspective. What does solstice mean for your spirit? The earth, our home, gives us light and dark by turns. Every day, some light, every day, some dark. Every year, a period when the light is longer than the dark, and another spell where the dark is longer than the light. And the spirit also has its turns, times where the self confidently plays itself out, when you have clarity about what you're here to do and how to do it, and your energy goes into doing it. And then there are other times, times of recalibration, redefinition, uncertainty, and transformation. Times when who you are and whose you are and where you belong and what your purpose is feels not at all clear. During this time of the longest nights, I wanted to reflect with you on a phenomenon that the 16th century Spanish mystic and poet St. John of the Cross called the dark night of the soul. A dark night of the soul can, of course, happen at any time of year, but during this time of longest nights, it's a good time to notice some things about the seasons of the soul, as well as the seasons of the year. You may have experienced a dark night of the soul yourself. You might be now in the midst of such a time, and there may be more such times ahead for any of us. St. John's phrase, dark night of the soul, describes a profound and intense spiritual crisis. A deep sense of loss, despair, disconnection from your own spiritual understanding comes over you. Your spiritual practice feels sterile and dry. Prayer seems pointless. Zazen meditation offers no peace. You open your journal at the same time of day that you have for years, but there are no words that seem worth the energy it takes to move the pen. Or the words you do write seem bland, lifeless, merely repetitive. The poems that once resonated with beauty, with delight, with insight, now fail to move you. The comfort and the meaning they offered, gone. Close relationships fail to energize us the way that they so often have. It might be a time of lethargy, or it might be a time of intensely felt despair, anxiety, sadness. What is happening in a dark night of the soul, as St. John of the Cross understood it, is that the way you've been living cannot be sustained. Perhaps it's because there's been a change in the world around you, a relationship lost. Or perhaps it's because you're outgrowing the habits of being that have heretofore carried you, even sometimes joyfully carried you. Some part of you realizes that you must grow into a new sort of being, and you don't know how to get there. So the dark night of the soul is a time of self-doubt and questioning. Challenges to your beliefs feel more serious. Your values feel insufficient, shallow. You don't know who you are anymore, but something is telling you that you can't be what you have been. the very ground of meaning and value in your life, seems to have abandoned you. If you are inclined to personify that ground and value, to address it as if it were like a person, what you might feel like saying to it is, "Why have you forsaken me?" A dark night of the soul can mimic symptoms of depression or can combine in complicated ways with any mental health disorder that might be going on. But in itself, a dark night of the soul is not a mental health issue, but a spiritual process. For people who do not have actual depression, a dark night of the soul might last anywhere from several weeks to a year or more. How long it lasts will depend on various factors, such as the intensity of the spiritual crisis, the presence of supportive relationships and guidance, and your spiritual resilience, your spiritual maturity and willingness to confront and explore the inner world in which your identity and values are forged. A dark night of the soul is not fun, but it is a transformative process. When it comes because you need it. It's necessary for you to birth the new being that wants to be you. Its duration is not as important as the depth of the transformation that occurs. A sudden expansion of awareness or spiritual insight can lead to a dark night of the soul as you grapple with refashioning your life in light of your new realization. A significant trauma or loss can send you into a dark night of the soul as you grope for new touchstones of meaning in a landscape stripped of your previous touchstones. A prolonged or intense spiritual practice might awaken in you a new awareness that sends you into a dark night of the soul to process. For St. John of the Cross, the dark night of the soul ultimately leads to spiritual growth and transformation. You emerge on the other side with a deeper understanding, a renewed faith, an increased spiritual wisdom and resilience, a greater self-awareness, a richer inner life, a more profound understanding of yourself and your place in the world. On these longest nights of the year, if you are in a time of a dark night of the soul, it's important to remember that this too belongs. The bright day of the soul and the dark night of the soul take turns. This is a part of your growth. But that doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Seek support. Reach out to spiritual mentors, friends, or therapists. No one can really understand what you're going through. You don't understand it yourself. But talking about it, reaching for words, inadequate though they are, is nevertheless helpful. Trust in that. Take care of yourself. Look for ways to relax and let go of whatever may be stressful. And be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to process your emotions and experiences without judgment. The heart has its reasons that reason cannot know. And the heart has its own schedule. Let it have the time it needs. And the way to do that is not to be judgmental of yourself. And if you're not currently in a dark night of the soul, you may yet find yourself in one. You can prepare now for times of transition and transformation to come by sticking to the discipline of a daily spiritual practice. So I want to close by sharing with you a reading, a poem, Blue Christmas, This Too Belongs, by Carrie Kopnick. The sound of rain, not cheerful songs. A quiet rocking chair, not traditions of the season. The early sunset, not dancing lights. Loss, tender heart, hollow soul, heavy days. Grief is welcome, a sacred part of the mourning, of the bereft, of the weeping. Amidst the celebrating, this too belongs. This too is holy. It binds us to our ancestors, the earth, the stars, yet still a steaming mug of tea warms the belly. The dog wags its tail and the cat purrs. There are laughter and tears, sometimes both, beside the joy. This too belongs. Sharing human suffering is connection. Hearts like stones are held by all that is, grief and light intertwined. This too belongs. Amen.
Thank you, Meredith. That was nourishing and hopeful, and thank you for that. Taking turns. How might we look at that, continuing on with what Meredith said? Earlier in the service, we heard from the bird note about how they can see more wavelengths further and farther and adjust focus more rapidly than we can. Some birds see at night better than we do. Does that make them better than us? Perhaps in vision, yes. Humans can produce electricity and therefore light at a huge scale, lighting up entire cities in the dark of the night. Although catfish and eels and knifefish and even honeybees can also produce electricity. Because humans do it at such a large scale, does that make them better than every other species? Maybe by producing electricity on a large scale, yes. But being better in terms of having inherent worth and dignity than another, that's everyone's got that. So comparisons don't make sense. Each species has their own gift and abilities. Not better, just different. Yet we humans, we evolved biologically and culturally to make comparisons. But there is a risk that we promote dualism when we do that, hierarchy and domination. Philosopher Timothy Merton writes, dualism is an act of severing a fundamental traumatic fissure between, to put it in stark terms, reality, the human correlated term, world, and the real, ecological symbiosis of human and non-human parts of the biosphere. So he is saying, in the way that I interpret, is that we humans cannot see everything. And dualistic comparisons that we form constrict our world into the little that we can perceive. The risk is that we could cause not just disconnection, but harm. For instance, take dark and light shades in animals. According to the National Library of Medicine, dark cats or black cats have a risk of euthanasia not being adopted much higher than lighter colored cats. Darker shades of animals are linked more to themes of evil and bad. In many cultures, humans lean towards the light and away from the dark in each other, in each species, and in the turning and the revolving of the earth systems. We turn away from the long hours of the night and the soul's struggle. And as we do this, we can tend to equate in this dualistic light and dark, good and bad, that the other is fundamentally other, different, doesn't belong, perhaps is bad. And we can care for them less. So diminishing dualism is one aspect of spiritual practices, of being able to accept it all. And one spiritual practice is multi-species intelligence, which means being aware and concerned and looking truly at what's going in the paws and fins and feathers of another being. What is motivating them? What are their needs. And we do this without categorizing that behavior, either scientifically or morally. We don't say good and bad. So what am I talking about? What does all this mean? Well, let's take the peregrine falcon, for instance. This is a very common falcon all over the world, a really great hunter. Boy, do they see and focus rapidly. On a walk a few years ago, Meredith and I were talking about peregrine falcons, how beautiful they are in the hunt and in the diving. And I said, well, the falcons probably know they're that beautiful. And we jokingly said, they're such jerks, right? But we knew it was preposterous to put ego and narcissism onto another species just because they're so focused on hunting, just because they're so beautiful. And in the process, they're harming and killing. Yet projecting qualities of correct behavior and incorrect behavior is what we do to others all the time. Perhaps we don't consider peregrine falcons as evil when they kill and hunt other birds, for that's their evolutionary niche, right? But what if they harm a bird in a study that we are familiar with? It's hard for me to not see flashes of enemy images when I see a peregrine take out a parrot that I've been studying and protecting. We might imagine from the parrot's point of view that the peregrine falcon really is quite the jerk. But at the same time, the nourishment of one dead parrot feeds the peregrine and the peregrine's chicks. And so the peregrine, by killing another bird, is exhibiting what we might call prosocial behavior. It's caring for the chicks. But it's also at the same time doing antisocial behavior by killing a parrot. Perhaps we want to move away from even using words like prosocial, antisocial, just like we want to move away from good or bad. We might instead just describe the behavior. That's the spiritual practice. What is going on? And the reason why we want to eliminate categories and labels in animal behavior is because we don't want to engage in the dualistic thinking that's going to lead to disconnection and at best, and then harm at the worst, seeing others as fundamentally flawed. Humans do this to other species as well as to our own. The peregrine falcon, in human terms, is a killer, is a murderer. She tortures her victims by tearing them apart while they're still alive, and then she eats them. Such thoughts might lead humans to despise the peregrine falcon and want to kill her or limit her in their areas, for they are cannibals and murderers. It might also lead us to trap them, not care for them in our communities. It wouldn't be just falcons that we might judge like this, because all kinds of species engage in sexual coercion, and in human terms, we might call that rape. All kinds of species, cannibalism, infanticide, war, murder. The list goes on. And we could also say that all these other species, or many species, engage in prosocial behavior, such as parenting, care, compassion, empathy, justice. In terms of evolved behaviors to promote our species, humans as a whole are no worse or no better than any other. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't hold individuals, a group of individuals, accountable for immense suffering and loss of life. In our human world, we do need to hold harmful individuals accountable so that the harm diminishes or ends. But is the whole human species bad? Are peregrine falcons, black cats, and crows bad? If there are truly no bad dogs because their behavior is a result of evolution, of genetics, and socialization, can we not say the same thing for humans? No bad humans? Embracing this reality of the spectrum of harm and tragedy in others and in existence, perhaps we can let go of seeing others as good or bad, ourselves as well, and even life itself. No difference between light and dark. Life is so much more complex than that. The full spectrum of behavior cannot be unwoven from the whole because we are what the earth is, and that is what earth is. There is no beauty without tragedy, and there is no tragedy without beauty. But to see the world in this way is no easy spiritual practice, but along this path, perhaps we can open up new ways of being. The alien entity says to the heroine in the movie Contact these lines about humans. You're such an interesting species, an interesting mix. You're capable of such beautiful dreams and such horrible nightmares. You feel so cut off, alone, lost, but you are not. What if we could turn that sense of isolation and disconnection around? Beauty is ever present, and it connects us to other humans and to all of life and to the prairie and the trees surrounding me and wherever you are. As Leo Tolstoy once wrote, all the beauty of life is made up of light and shadows. The stars and the moons will always need the darkness to be seen. Stars cannot shine without darkness, and neither can we. We don't need to compare. We just need to take turns looking at the gifts of all these different species. And perhaps if we do this, we're also able to look at the depth of harm that is present in ourselves and in others and in falcons and in cats and in existence. But if we can do this, try to hold it all, perhaps we can be present to that which is uncomfortable. As Meredith said, the dark night of the soul, without pushing away the nightmares of existence, which is all, which is earth, which is us. Joseph Campbell said that the black moment is the moment when the real message of transformation is going to come. And after the darkest moment comes light. We can turn towards the dark, we can turn towards the light, and in so doing, open up a way forward of a waking dream of a world that is more just, more peaceful, and more flourishing for all. May it be so.
I want to invite you to join us in singing a song. Just please sing along with us at home. And I have posted the lyrics in the chat. It's "Come Sing a Song with Me."
Come walk in rain with me, that I might
and I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find, and I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. The end of our service. Some announcements and a chance for discussion are coming. If you'll stay online with us for that. We extinguish this chalice then, knowing that we carry its light within us, grounded in the knowledge that the light of day now enters the 6 months of its annual rhythm when every day gets longer. Go in peace.
Check out the One Earth Retreat Center website and Facebook page. We have a monthly overnight retreat that encourages Zen practice, Buddhism practice, as well as bird and nature practice. You can come for the day or spend the night here or spend the night locally. That would be fine. We also have throughout the week online events, a Sunrise Birding for Life event. I know it's early where we are, and but it's 15 minutes of checking in with birds and bird spiritual practices. And then almost every day of the week, 5 days a week, there's the Zen practice for a regular online event. So please join us. So the questions for today, or to take with you for the week, and I put them in the chat. Which species challenge you to see their inherent worth and dignity? Which groups of humans challenge you? How do seasons of longer nights impact you, or longer days? How do you get through the winter or the summer, where we are, the hot summer, or perhaps a rainy season where you are? Have you come through the dark night of the soul? Have you seen others do so, or be unable to do so? How can we help others in the hard times? And how might we ask for support for ourselves?